Hey guys, I just thought I'd do another video on my 80 series. I'm driving it into the mountains, going fishing for a little bit. This is a pretty steep grade right here I'm going up. So nice to have, power on tap. Just really hammer through these hills if you want. I really haven't had any issues with the swap. One thing I've noticed is I've been towing a lot more than I've realized I would, than I anticipated I would. And with the 5.3 at elevation, I'm talking like, between 8,000 feet and like 12,000 feet. Pulling a trailer, it does okay. You have to rev the snot out of it on the really steep grades to keep your speed up to around 60 or so. My tires are about 32 inches. So because of that, I am going to swap in a bigger LS motor. I got one sitting on an engine stand that I'm building. So that should give me a bit more torque. I'm going from a 5.3 to a 6.0. Pretty simple process. All my my wiring harness will just swap right over. Headers swap over, water pump, everything. It's just a direct drop in, and I'll just sell the 5.3. There's nothing wrong with it. My initial thought was to put a cam in the 5.3, which really would bump up the power significantly. But the thing is, if I do that, I have to pull the motor pretty much to put a cam in this, unless I rip the whole front end apart. So then the truck's going to be down for a bit. And I thought, well, if I could just have a 6.0 ready to go. The thing about going with more cubic inches is I'll have more off-the-line torque. Whereas if I put a cam in the 5.3, it will increase power, but it won't be till like after 3,000 RPM. So just going to a 6.0, I should gain like 50 horse and 50 foot-pounds of torque, and then I'm going to put a cam in it as well, so that'll also bump that up. So anyways, we're just going for a little drive, and I thought you guys would like to see how an LS powered Land Cruiser drives, so I'll just shut up for a little bit. One thing about having a V8 is you have the power to really haul the mail up the mountains, but the thing is about these hills is there's curves, and you're not in a Ferrari, so you can't just hammer it around the corners, or else you get yourself into trouble. So there's really only so much usable power you can have, practically speaking, as far as going fast. No matter how much power you have, you're supposed to follow the speed limit like everyone else. So, but I'm, like I I said, I've been towing a lot more, so my main reason for the swap is because of towing. So not so much. I have plenty of power for driving, just driving unloaded. It's totally fine, and even with a decent load, it's fine also. But I'm going to be pulling a significant amount of weight, it seems like, for here and there. So, and it's not that big deal to swap it anyway. So the bummer is that some of the little side projects I wanted to do are going to have to be put on the back burner, because like my drive shaft has a little bit of vibration. That's going to have to wait for a while. I'm going to need brakes soon. That's going to have to wait a while too. But all that stuff really, isn't a big deal for it to wait. But anyways, just thought I'd take you guys for a ride. Whoever's watching that's interested in doing a V8 swap, I thought maybe you might find it helpful. This is fairly well dialed in at this point, and I'm just, once you get all the little bugs worked out, it's really a great drive. I was contemplating buying a 200 series before I got this. Doing it all myself, labor-wise, was a pain, and I probably wouldn't do it again because of all the labor that's involved. I'd probably just buy a 200 series. However, now it's done, and then I have it. It's probably pretty close to being as comfortable with it as a 200 series, because I still am running the stock coils, but I just am using spacers to get a little more lift. And it's a lot easier to tinker with than a 200 series, as far as throwing a cam in it, or different set of heads, or putting a second AC compressor on it, use that as a air compressor, or I want to swap out to a bigger motor. It's just, everything's plug and play at this point. So money not being an option versus getting a V8 200 series, or just paying someone to do all this work to do, to have a V8 80 series, I would pay to do a V8 80 series. I mean, the seats are heated and cooled. They're more comfortable than 200 series seats. I can't think of what I would want in a 200 series over this. Really, I guess the only thing is a 200 series is what it is. You have a 5.7. I guess you could supercharge it, but you're talking like 10 grand to do that. But really, you're not going to do anything with a 200 series unless you can do a lift on it and bumpers and stuff like that. But as far as engine and drivetrain wise, that's what you're going to have the life of the vehicle, which simplicity wise is pretty desirable, because what it has. It has a 5.7, just like all the Tundras and Sequoias, and that motor's been out for a long time. Finding out if you have an issue with it, it's easy to figure that out, because a million other people have had that issue and have found the fix a million times. With a custom swap, you might have some issues that pop up that you're kind of on your own with. But as far as issues with the LS motor, most of those are pretty easy to figure out, because there's so many LS swaps and LS motors that people have messed with. So I would, if I just had the money to pay to have this done, or just pay to have a 200 series, I would pay to have this done. It just is such a nice driving truck. You have the solid front axle, which really rides pretty nice. I know a 200 series rides a bit nicer than this, but I think you're really being too picky if it's that much nicer and you're complaining about how this rides. I mean, this rides fine. I'm really happy with it. So, all right, well, that's enough listening to me, hearing me talk, and I'm gonna get going fishing here in a little while. But hope you guys found this informative. Have a good one.